think you should know about. You know, Indian food is very popular in general, but on this show in particular. And my guest today is going to be making some delicious nutrient-dense Indian food like chutneys and a bonus recipe that she's doing just for me. She is a whole food plant-based registered dietitian, and she calls herself Nutritionist Deepa. Please welcome her to the show. I'm so excited because I love chutney.
So thank you so much, Chef AJ, for having me over. Yes, everybody loves chutneys, and being a nutritionist, dietitian, and diabetes care specialist for so long, you know, it is very important for me, or it is my mission to make sure that I provide recipes and support as people are transitioning to whole food plant-based or wherever they are on their journey to get healthy, that I not only use nutrient-dense foods, but also focus on adding flavor, because both can be done very easily and without really standing in the kitchen for hours. So today I'm going to show what are called as, in Indian language, Podi, or dry chutneys. Basically, most of the time people think chutneys need to be wet, or like spread. But these particular chutneys or podis are a mix of spices and different kind of lentils, actually, and they are dry in nature and they are multi-purpose. And I'm going to show you two chutney recipes today. One is my pumpkin sesame seed, and the other one is my all-purpose coconut podi. So, and then I'm going to use one of the chutney to make a special dish that I, as a tribute to Chef AJ, it's called my cauliflower potato rassa. So these chutneys are traditionally, like I said, are used as a little bit of a condiment on the side. But over the years, I have noticed that they can be used as a multi-purpose seasoning almost, and really enhance the nutrient density of whatever dish you are making. So I'm going to start with the one with pumpkin. And let's go over the ingredients real quick here. Very simple ingredients, very interchangeable ingredients. But today I'm going to, Chef AJ, you're able to see my food camera, right?
You bet. It's a wonderful setup that you have.
Okay, so thank you. So what I have here, I'm making this particular one nut-free, but traditionally peanuts are used in this recipe, but I'm using pumpkin seeds. Now, the reason I want to use pumpkin seed is because of the mineral content of it and a little bit of healthy fat that we need. So I have pumpkin seeds and some sesame seeds. Usually half of whatever main nut or seed I'm taking, I put a little bit of sesame seeds in there, and some cumin. And to boost the flavors even more, I'm going to open my magic box here and go with a little bit of turmeric and some cayenne and some red chili powder. Now you can skip the cayenne and the red chili powder if you don't, if you are sensitive to heat, but you can also substitute with a little bit of black pepper. Actually, black pepper and turmeric is a very therapeutic combination, because remember, guys, it's all about using food as medicine, but not necessarily, you know, by compromising the taste. So just by this little spice box here, I call almost like a pill box, because every ingredient here, every spice here, every herb here that is used has some sort of a therapeutic effect in our body. So to get started with chutneys, what I have done is I have lightly roasted all these ingredients. Now you can roast them on in cast iron or you know, in a skillet. I usually toast my nuts and seeds and even spices in this little toaster oven here, because I'm trying, it's all about multitasking for me, you know, making sure that I'm doing like 3 things at one time. And in order to do that, I make sure that my toaster oven is is working. So it's a very simple recipe. What I'm going to do, put these chutney ingredients in this little blender that I have. Okay, so going back to the nutrient density of some of the nuts and seeds and spices. So you know, Chef AJ, how people say, "Oh, where am I going to get my calcium on whole food plant-based diet?"
Absolutely.
Believe it or not, sesame seed is a source of calcium, and so is cumin. So that's one of the reasons why I decided to use cumin in this recipe and sesame seed in this recipe, because we don't have to drink a glass of milk anymore to get the calcium, but we can use simple things like sesame seeds and cumin. So if you are using these spices on a daily basis, you can get your calcium over a period of time. So that's all you need to add to make this podi or dry chutney, or you can call it a seasoning mix, however you want to do it. And then I'm just going to pulse it. You don't want to grind it too fine. You don't want to grind it too fine because you want to, otherwise it's going to turn into a spicy butter, peanut butter, like a pumpkin seed butter. So this is the consistency you want to achieve. It's similar to Nutritionist. Are you able to see it, Chef AJ?
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Okay, so that's really all to it. And I'm going to use this particular podi or dry chutney in the cauliflower potato rasa that I'm making. So here I go. So one recipe is already done. Now we'll move on to the next one. But before I start the next one, I want to quickly show you that once these chutneys are done, I put them in little glass jars that I save every time I get anything in a glass jar.
So do you keep these at room temperature?
I keep them at room temperature because I use it on my avocado toast. I use it on my baked potato. I get done with them pretty fast. You can sprinkle it on a salad or on vegetables, steamed vegetables. You can sprinkle it on your potatoes that you eat, Chef AJ. So there are really multiple uses of this mix, and I have not put any salt in it. So if you want to just add a little bit of salt, sea salt, that's fine. But if you are dealing with any kind of cardiovascular disease or heart disease or trying to lose weight, then I would recommend that you avoid adding extra salt. So as you can see, the reason I want to show people how I'm filling it in, because I want to make sure that they understand that the texture needs to be dry, because this is a dry chutney. We also make all kinds of wet chutneys, which can be used as a dip or a spread, and I can show you next time if anybody is interested. But let's go to the next podi, and that's my my coconut lentil podi. And the ingredient here are a little slightly more ingredients, because this is another very flavorful, very ethnic dry chutney, and it has coriander seeds, it has cumin, it has some dry chana dal. Now the reason I have added chana dal in it, or traditionally the dals are added, and I have another lentil called Urad Dal. Now you can substitute only chana dal, which are the dry chickpeas, or chana is basically a variety of chickpea, and it's added to this podi because they add not only add a little bit of protein, but they add a bit of a thickness when you add them or when you sprinkle them, especially in wet gravies and stuff. And then I have some dried curry leaves, actually from my friend's tree. And what I have done is anytime I get dry curry leaves, I mean not fresh curry leaves, I dry them, and they have this amazing, very light, like a lemongrass type, not lemongrass, but kaffir lime type of very faint, very nice fragrance to it. And you can also add coriander. If you don't have curry leaves, don't get stuck because of that. You can add some dry cilantro in it. If you don't have urad dal, no worries. You can substitute with a little bit of chana dal, which is much easier to get. But all these ingredients are easily available in Indian grocery stores or, of course, online. Now, in addition to these things, I'm going to add some coconut. This is dry coconut and little bit of tamarind to add a bit of a sourness. Now, in case if you don't have tamarind, you can use lime powder, or you can just add extra lemon to your recipe in the end, and it will balance up the flavor. So these are the ingredients for this particular recipe. And again, I'm going to grind everything. I'm going to start grinding the spices first, along with the dal, and then add the coconut, because dal is going to take a little bit longer to grind. And you can just imagine.
Deepa, people are asking about that blender. They're saying it's unusual. What kind of blender is it?
Oh my God, this is the blender. So there's this blender and there's a skillet that I'm going to show you. If there is ever a hurricane or tornado or any kind of natural disaster happening, I'm going to take these two things and run. Okay, because this is such a handy thing to have. It is available in Indian stores. If anybody is interested, have them text me and I will tell them where to get it from, because there's only one little store or one person that I know who has it, and every time he get a shipment of it, I buy it and I give it to my friends and families and my patients and everybody that I know.
Does it have a name?
It has a name. It just says Premier. It says Premier Spice Grinder.
Nice.
I know, it's a very handy one, because it comes in really handy when we do the wet chutneys or wet masalas. I'm adding cayenne in it. Yeah, so this is a very nice blender and easy to clean. I'm going to add a little bit of Kashmiri chili. Kashmiri chili is this chili powder, which is not hot, but adds nice hue, nice color to your food. As you can see, I'm a little bit heavy on cayenne. I don't know if you can see it in the back here. Do you see all those jalapenos and green and red jalapenos?
Yeah, what are you going to do with those?
Good question. I am going to make some Asian, like Thai or Chinese and Thai chili sauces. Oops. I'm going to grind this first. So, and now I'm going to add the coconut and the tamarind. Oh goodness, it smells so good here. The cayenne and the coriander and cumin. So, like I was saying, all the small addition of different kinds of spices and these dals, if they all come together, and there's a concept called food synergy, which means that, every food, when combined correctly with another food, provides us with the right combination of, or creates an environment for proper absorption. For example, as I was saying, adding turmeric with black pepper, or cumin and coriander. So there's a science to why certain kinds of this ethnic traditional recipes were made. I think the science was that, when you combine certain ingredients together, they are going to be more beneficial in terms of nutrient absorption in your system. It smells so good. Okay, can you see it now?
Perfectly.
All right, perfect. So that's how this podi is done. Yeah, and like I said, you can add it to your lentil soup if you are making like dal, instead of just adding just the green chilies or just the regular onion tomatoes. You can start sprinkling these chutneys or podis on as a topper for any food. It tastes really amazingly good on avocado toast. So I'm going to take a moment here and ask Chef AJ, do you have any question? Anything I can answer?
Actually, we do. Yeah, so people like to know a little bit about you. How did you become plant-based? Was it before or after becoming a dietitian? We'd love to hear your journey.
So I grew up vegetarian just by default, and I started practicing as a dietitian almost 16-18 years ago here in Chicagoland area. And as I went back to school here, my original degree is in food science, but I went back to school here to study more about nutrition and everything. And after I graduated and started practicing, I started noticing something interesting as to everybody would say, hey, I'm always tired, or I started noticing that most of my patients, if not all, had the similar symptoms of nutritional deficiencies that I had learned back in India. In developing countries, we focus a lot on nutritional deficiencies because of just the quality of food and access to food. And I started noticing the same symptoms, same signs among this population, and it intrigued me. And I said, I wonder why in this country there's so much food, and I learned about so much food for 3-4 years going to school, and why these people are tired. Why am I seeing the same nutritional deficiency symptoms, even though nobody was diagnosing them by saying, hey, you are deficient in C or B or magnesium or selenium, but the same symptoms, I could just analyze that in my brain. And then I started focusing more and more on gut health and how poor the digestive health of the population that I was seeing. And one thing led to the other, and it all kind of came together when I said gut health is something that I need to start addressing first. And as you know, in order to improve anybody's gut health, what do you recommend? You recommend a lot of fiber, prebiotic, probiotic, and I just started telling people to start eating just 1 cup of dal every day, or just start making these small transitions, and that was it. And over the years, I became whole food plant-based, and I try to promote that message. I also work with underserved communities. So my goal is that, anybody who is suffering with chronic disease, not only suffering with, but is trying to prevent any kind of chronic disease, and mental health as well. Because over the years, people would come in for their weight or their diabetes, but I ended up taking them off of their depression, anxiety medication, because it all came together. So I think whole food plant-based has huge implications in mental health um, arena. And that's what I try to do in my private practice. And every time I work with my underserved population. And that's how I kind of started. And then, you end up meeting like-minded people. And before I know, I'm here with Chef AJ.
That's great. Do you see clients in person or patients in person, either virtually or at your office?
I do. And I am working, because there's just so much demand for it. And I have my specialties, of course, digestive health, but also diabetes and weight management, so on and so forth. So I do see patients in my practice. Telehealth I can do, but I'm also working on some digital programs for this population, which is going to take into account the ethnic diversity of different diets, and how people with basically I'm trying to address the health equity and access to care when it comes to whole food, plant-based, and lifestyle medicine.
Wonderful.
Okay, so I'm going to switch back to my camera for food. Can you see my skillet now?
I sure can. It's beautiful.
Perfect. So this skillet is hot. So for the next recipe, I'm going to start by warming up the skillet, because that's the key. Anytime you do any kind of stir fry, and especially any Indian curries and gravies and stuff like that. So to get started.
Hey, I just want to ask you about something. In your bio, you were recognized as one of the top 10 dietitians in the country by Today's Dietitian. Tell me about that.
That is correct. So, like I said, I had worked with underserved population as a public health dietitian, same around, pretty much for the last 16 years, because I started my private practice, but I also wanted to make sure that those who don't have access to my private practice clinic still get the knowledge. Okay, I'm going to start tempering some mustard seeds here. I'm sure you can hear the copy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to make sure it doesn't burn. I will get to it. Let me show you the ingredients, and then we can chat. So the ingredients. So potato rasa is a very traditional Maharashtrian recipe. I come from the state of Maharashtra, which is western part of India, and this is a very everyday kind of a recipe that they use, but I think it's very flavorful. So I know Chef AJ likes potatoes, so I thought, why not? So I'm using, again, calorically low vegetables, but nutrient dense vegetables like cauliflower, some peas, and potato. And this is a frozen cauliflower. I'm all about making the cooking easy and simple. So I work with the food pantries, and we have a community garden, and there was bumper crop of cauliflower. Some of it was going bad, so I got it home. I just chopped it and froze it. And this is boiled potato with skin on. Guys, always make sure that you are eating your potato and most of your vegetables with skin on, because that's where all the nutrients are. And so for this recipe, these are the 3 vegetables I have, and we are going to use that pumpkin seed podi. And instead of constantly being in the kitchen chopping and cutting tomatoes and ginger and garlic, what I do is I make this, I call them my basic curry cubes. So these are just a mixture of cooked tomato and onion, and then this is my ginger garlic cube. So I make them, I freeze them in ice cube trays, and I just pull them out whenever I need it. These recipes are available on my YouTube channel, Nutritionist Deepa. I do a lot of, I like to tell people more or teach them about meal planning because that is the key to eat healthy. So to get this recipe started, I'm going to add my basic creamy curry cube. Oops. Yeah. And it's going to take a minute or so for it to start melting. And to that, I'm going to add the cauliflower, and you can technically add the peas too, but you can always add them in the end. Okay, so over the years, what I did, Ms. Chef AJ, that I worked with the organization where we got grants to get farmers to our clinic and get a grant to have a commercial kitchen, so on and so forth. So I tried all different ways to see how I can reach and teach about cooking and nutrition and food as medicine to those who are suffering or who are suffering from diabetes, heart disease, all these lifestyle-based chronic conditions. So because of different ways of dealing with issues and the ideas I came up with, I guess they thought that was innovative and they chose me as one of the top dietitians in the country. Now I'm adding my
congratulations.
Sorry?
Congratulations on that.
Oh, thank you. It's all good. It's all about making sure that I'm able to take the knowledge, I'm able to give it back. You can just imagine how fragrant this mixture is smelling here. It's delicious. And I'm just going to take a little bit of vegetable broth. I mean, not vegetable broth, just water, and sprinkle it just to get all these juices back in the pan so that nothing is going to stick. Now, if you're going to add salt, I would say add it at this point. Now, you can use different kind of vegetables in it as well, like carrots, green beans, anything that goes well with the potato. But the ginger, the garlic, the creamy curry cube, which has tomato and onion, it's all smelling so good. Again, just a little bit of vegetable to steam it, bring it together. And like I said, we also make a lot of wet chutneys, but today I decided to use the dry chutneys. And like I said, those dry seasoning powders, you can use it on top of literally anything savory that you want, or if you want to add it to your fruit toast, that's fine too. But I wanted to showcase how multi-purpose they are, because now this vegetable is literally done, because the cauliflower was frozen, and as you can see, it's done, it's cooked. Potatoes are cooked. They're absorbing a bit of water. Now, rassa is traditionally can be more soupy or more gravy-like, but I like mine a little bit on the thicker side. And I also wanted to show you guys how the seasoning will stick to the potatoes and and the cauliflower, making it really, really yummy. But you can add almost like a cup of water in it and then add the podis or the dry seasoning blends, dry chutney blend, and off you go. So I'm going to cover this just for 1 minute and lower the heat. And let's do the, okay, any other question, Ms.
Yeah,
Chef AJ, I can answer?
you talked about being prepared. Do you do any kind of batch cooking techniques for yourself in your daily life?
All of it. Those curry-based cubes that I just showed you is done in batch cooking because I can use them in soups and gravies and these everyday meals. I do batch cooking of ginger garlic powder. Ginger garlic paste. All these seasoning mixes. The chutneys are done in batch cooking. I batch freeze my vegetables. So now what did I buy the other day? Quite a bit of Indian vegetables, ethnic vegetables. I go to Mexican store, Chinese store, Indian store, African stores. I go to all ethnic stores and buy different kind of vegetables from them. And once I buy them enough. For okra, I bought extra okra yesterday. And now I'm going to wash it, chop it, and batch freeze it. So I do a lot of batch freezing, and then it comes in handy when I'm batch cooking.
Great, thank you. Tiffany says, in your private practice near Chicago, how does a person schedule an in-person appointment? Okay, so please text this number 630-686-7300, and that's the number for my office and say it one more time. 630-686-7300. Okay, thank you. I'll put it in the show notes. No problem. So yeah, even for these recipes, just text me your name, email to that number, and I will send you the copies of these recipes as well. Okay, so back to the cooking here, and this is done, and I am going to add the pumpkin. Remember the pumpkin sesame powder podi we did? So I'm just going to sprinkle a little bit of that podi on top. You can call it a Parmesan cheese of India, these podis, because they are flavorful. Are you able to see how this podi or the powder has stuck to the vegetable pieces, Miss yes. AJ? Yes. Okay, that's the point, because we want to make sure that all these vegetables are covered with this flavorful dry chutney. And now it's just matter of allowing it to cook for another few seconds, just covered, but you don't have to. It's all ready to go. The advantage of adding just a little bit of fat in here is for the nutrient absorption of other nutrients. So cauliflower, green peas has any dark color vegetable has nutrients which need a little bit of fat to absorb. So A, D, E, K vitamins, for example, vitamin A and D and E and K, which is found in greens, some of the greens and carrots and orange colored vegetables require a little bit of fat for absorption. So that's the reason it's important that you add just healthy fat that comes from seeds and nuts and so on and so forth. But like I said, we are using whole seed. So the fiber and all the nutrient, we got the package. Unlike when we get oil from the seeds, not the same thing, because the oils are inflammatory and refined and processed and so on and so forth. So this is a really good way of getting your healthy fats and flavor and texture and your vegetables all in one, really.
So that's so this vegetable is looking good. I can remove it in a bowl.
Mona wants to know how you dry your curry leaves.
Oh, just air dry them. I just leave them, I wash them and just hang dry. Or just spread it on a cloth and they are done.
And Linda wants to know if you know any Indian families living in Sacramento where she lives.
Oh, there's so many.
That's true.
There's just so many. She should go to any Indian store and start chatting with the people there, and she will make few friends.
Yeah.
And get all these ingredients. Okay, any other question, Ms. Ajay?
I'm looking through the chat now. Guys, please remember to put 4 question marks at the beginning. It really helps when the chat is active like it is today.
Okay.
At the curry question. Yeah. How important is exercise?
Okay. Are you able to see this curry, the vegetable, the rasa?
Looks delicious.
I wish you guys were my neighbor. Really, I would have fed you all. Okay, so that is so that's it. Those are my recipes, and I'll switch back and answer your question. Would you please repeat the question, Chef?
Yeah. How important is exercise in the scheme of things that you teach to your patients?
Okay, so when somebody comes to me and when there's an active health issue going on, I first tell them to fuel their body correctly. Think of it like a car you are taking for a race, right? Unless you have a right kind of fuel in the system, car is not going car is not going to run. Forget about winning the race. Same thing with our body. If you're going to the gym and doing those HIIT workouts and joining the yoga classes where you are trying to stand upside down on your head and still not losing weight, you have to take a step back and see what you are eating. So I always start by fueling the body first with right kind of foods. And number 2, I focus more on activity versus exercise. And activity can be your daily activities of living, vacuuming, going up and down the staircase, going for a simple walk, looking up, looking down, wiping the cabinets, anything where my body is moving, that is more important to me than any kind of rigorous exercise. Because without right fuel, if you are exercising, it's almost becomes a stressful situation for your body. And then your body's metabolism is going to go down. If you're trying to lose weight, if you are trying to lower your A1C or your blood glucose, your blood sugar numbers are going to go up high, because if you don't have right fuel, your liver, you are stimulating the liver to produce more glucose just to keep you alive. So fuel yourself correctly, focus on the food first, and then get into the activities, and then down the line you can definitely look into more vigorous exercise.
What do you do for exercise, Deepa?
So I walk, I do, I change. I walk, I do sun salutations. We call them Surya Namaskar. That's like, it takes 10 minutes, but it's for the whole body because it involves a lot of steps to look up, and which is good for the thyroid gland, and bending and all that. Everything happens in those 12 poses. So I do that. I do gosh, not the elliptical. What is that thing called? Gosh, I forgot the machine that I have upstairs. I do some stationary bicycle, and every hour, or not even hour, every 20 minutes, 30 minutes, I make sure that either I get up if I have an opportunity. If I'm talking and sitting in the meeting, I move my legs. While things are happening, I do stretching. I do stretches. So I take any opportunity I get to move any part of my body. So that's what I do.
Fantastic. Here's a cooking question from Joyce. Is there a way to stop the slimy texture of okra in preparing it?
Okay, very good question. I'm so glad that you asked. So what I do, I chop my okra, and if she has a toaster oven or even the regular oven, I bake my okra in there at 400 degrees. No, actually 425 degrees in my toaster oven. Okay, the big oven the temperature may vary a bit, but in my toaster oven, I bake it for like 5-7 minutes, and it removes all the sliminess in it, and then I use it in my stir fries or whatever I'm cooking with it. And if you bake it a little longer, it becomes nice and crunchy.
You know, I find air frying or grilling, it doesn't become slimy.
That is true too. So what I do, basically, the baking is very similar to air frying. The same thing.
You know, since you specialize in gut health, I once heard one of the GI doctors said that it was the slimy part that actually was really good for our gut.
Absolutely. That's the prebiotic fiber. And it's the same kind that they use in statin drugs. Similar component. Yeah, so there's nothing wrong in eating a gumbo with slightly slimy okra in it.
You get over the sliminess. There's a question.
Right.
What is your favorite rice for health and your favorite spices when you cook spinach or greens?
Okay, so let me answer the rice question. I like wild rice, wild, not white. Okay, and I also like Lundberg's long grain brown rice. Okay, and when it comes to spices for greens, so it depends what kind of recipe I'm cooking. If I'm in the mood for like doing my verduras, like or my greens, which are like more Mexican style, then I just go with like a little bit of chipotle chile and garlic. If I'm making it Indian style, like spinach dal, then it's going to be the tamarind podi that I showed you. But if you don't have that, then it's going to be cumin powder, coriander powder, little bit of garlic, not too much, and green chilies or cayenne, and a lot of onion and tomato in the gravy, and then lentils and spinach in it. If I'm doing the Italian style, then of course the garlic and just garlic, really.
Great.
If I'm doing it Mediterranean style, then the black pepper and cloves also go well with spinach, I've noticed.
Interesting. Nurse Sandy says, do you also teach your patients meditation?
No, I don't teach them. Like I don't have any formal classes or anything, but I do promote meditation. On YouTube, I found this video. It's called Silva method, SILVA. It's a Silva method, 3-2-1 method, 15-minute thing. And I tell everybody to listen to it the first thing in the morning. I mean, I do it while I'm in the bed. First 15 minutes, that's it. And I'm done. And that's what I promote. For beginners, I promote a little bit of mindfulness, that, you know, when they're eating or talking or doing whatever, just be mindful, just be grateful, which is also part of meditation. But and meditation, again, I have said, I always feel that it doesn't have to be a hour-long process, and you shouldn't be fighting thoughts. In fact, it's interesting that you asked me that question. Just 5 days ago, last week actually, I had a monk come over for lunch at my house, and we talked about it, and we talked about the meditation and thoughts and all that. And he said, thoughts are going to come. What you don't want to do is to don't offer those thoughts some chai, which means don't make them stay there.
It's funny. So, I love that.
Yeah. So he said, for people you offer chai, but for thoughts, let them go.
That's funny. Okay, here's a question. Do you have a preference for where you source your herbs and spices? And there's a comment that the recipes on your YouTube channel are golden.
Oh, thank you. No, I go to, like I said, I go to ethnic stores for my spices, for herbs. I'm involved in the community garden, so I get all my herbs there. I wash them and I just hang dry them, or spread them on a muslin cloth, and that's how I get my herbs. But spices go to all. I'm urging everybody to visit uh, ethnically diverse stores or ethnic grocery stores. You will find so much goodies there, so many different things there, and that is what makes this whole food plant-based living so easy, so exciting. I mean, every day in the morning I'm excited, even if I have eaten this cauliflower and rasa like zillion times in my life. Every time I make it with different podi or different spice or with different vegetable, it is exciting for me. So yeah, just go and explore the ethnic stores.
Yeah, they're great. What do you do for sweet?
What I do for sweet? Okay, very good question again. So of course the usual little bit of dry fruit and fresh fruit, sometimes frozen fruit. To tell you the truth, I don't get as many dry cravings for sweets when I fuel myself correctly. I don't have those cravings. But if I ever do, then some dark chocolate. I have, like I said, some again sweet fruits like jackfruit and papaya are really good options for candy and cookies and any of that stuff. Occasionally, I would have an ice cream, the banana ice cream,
Absolutely.
and that's it.
That's
For
great.
for the chocolate and coffee fix, I make a chocolate malt, so to speak, with plant-based milk and little bit of molasses in there
Oh,
and
nice.
cocoa powder.
Kelly wants to know, with ginger and turmeric, do you peel it or do you leave the skin on?
Okay, so can I just show something? Can I go to my
Please.
freezer and
That'd
show?
be great.
Okay, hold on.
We have another cooking demo tomorrow for a brand new vegan cookbook, Debbie Adler. So I hope you'll tune in. She's going to be making moussaka with a bechamel sauce, SOS free.
So when I said I freeze everything, I do mean I freeze everything. So this is my frozen turmeric. Are you able to see it? Right here. So this is my frozen turmeric, which is frozen with skin on, along with ginger, which has skin on. So this is all frozen. So when it's time, I just have to grate it, and the skin just becomes a part of it.
That's cool. I love it. I do the same thing.
Yeah, there's no need to peel anything, guys, because peel is the one which has a lot of nutrients in for most of the fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely. Hey, I don't know if you've watched the show before, but the most popular question is, what do you eat in a day?
Okay. All right. So in the morning, I make myself a porridge. Again, it is batch cooked. I make it every 4 days, and it has all multiple grains like quinoa and buckwheat, millet, different kinds of millets, little bit of steel cut oats. I cook it with some dates, and I use spice in there, but it's the sweetest spice, which is like cinnamon, or nutmeg and cardamom and saffron. So it's a very gourmet type of a porridge with some berries. Then for mid-morning snack, I have some, maybe a plum or a peach or a dry fig or fresh fig, whatever fresh fruit I have. For lunch, usually my lunch is whatever is a leftover from the previous night, and half the plate is going to be vegetable, any kind of vegetable, literally, and 1 cup of vegetable and 1 cup of salad. And let me see if my salad today is ready. Can I just show you what I'm going to eat today?
Please.
I have a salad ready.
I love it.
Okay.
Love to see what people eat in a day. What do you guys eat in a day?
Okay, so I eat a version of this particular salad, and it is usually a bowl full. But today it had cucumber, radishes, baby tomatoes, avocado, some spinach, jicama, and the podis that we make, we also sprinkle on them. So, and little bit of that podi. So this is a kind of salad I eat at lunchtime, along with a cup or so of any kind of dal or bean or a lentil. I love lentils. I mean, I absolutely in love with lentils. So there's always a lentil in my plate. So I eat that. Then in the afternoon, I will have maybe a little bit of peanut butter or hummus with fruit or any kind of seed-based crackers. And then night again something similar, or I make lentil pasta or a soup or a stew or a sweet potato bowl like a Buddha bowl, or again the Indian thali we call it, which means the vegetable, the grain, and dal, and then we make a lot of condiments on the side. We make pickle with lemon, homemade, or with raw mango, or we make wet chutneys that you eat on the side. So I always have something like that to add extra flavor and extra taste and just more fun to my plate.
Great. You know, you mentioned figs. I actually watched one of your YouTube videos where all you did was talk about figs.
Correct. Because I try to talk about fruits and vegetables who need little more love. They are underutilized, but they're full of nutrients. So I try to talk about those all the time.
Yeah. Oh, here's a good question. If you find yourself at an Indian restaurant that doesn't serve healthy food, any tips for ordering?
Correct. Very good question. This sounds awful, but usually I try not to go to Indian restaurants. But if I do go, I tell them that I want rice. I want, if they could make me dal without the extra tadka on top. I know that they can definitely do it. Okay, so you can order rice and you can order dal. You can order roti, which is the flat bread. And roti doesn't have, they don't need to put any butter or oil in it. You can tell them you just want plain roti without any oil, butter on top. And usually they have what is called as gobi masala, which is very similar to this rasa, but different set of spices in there. So gobi masala, you can tell them that if they can do the gobi masala with just masala, and either tell them without any oil. If they say, oh, we don't know how to do it without oil, then tell them to use maybe just few drops of oil, and most of the time they will oblige.
Great. There's a question. Can you eat too many lentils?
And I think I don't think so. I mean, it's not easy to eat a lot of lentils, you know. So I think a cup or two, I don't know how much the person wants to eat, but I think if you combine lentils with enough vegetables, your body will self-regulate.
That's wonderful. What's the best way for people to connect with you?
So they can subscribe to my YouTube channel, Nutritionist Deepa, and they can send us their name and email address via that text 630-686-7300, and we will send them the recipes and the newsletter, which I talk about different kind of fruits and vegetables and meal planning techniques and all the everyday stuff that comes in handy in the newsletter, so they can access that as well. That's how they can connect me.
Well, great. This was a wonderful presentation. Thank you so much. Everything looked delicious and it made everyone hungry.
That's good. So go home, grind some spices and a little bit of pumpkin seed and sesame seeds together. You can also, like I said, these things are interchangeable. If you don't have pumpkin, or if you don't want to use sesame because of the allergen, switch it to sunflower seeds and it's going to be the same. So I hope you all enjoyed it, enjoy the recipe, enjoy the flavors, enjoy the nature's bounty. And Chef Ajay and your audience, thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to seeing you all again.
You're so welcome. Maybe you can create a line of these dried chutneys. We could just buy them from you.
It's a long story, but I'll get to it next time. But it is a good idea. But before I get to that, you all can try this at home, and then.
Great. Thank you so much, Deepa. It was wonderful meeting you.
Thank you as well.
Take care. And thanks all of you for watching another episode of Chef AJ Live. Please come back tomorrow when my guest is Debbie Adler. She has a brand new book coming out next week called The Mediterranean Plate, and she's going to be making one of the wonderful recipes from it. It is a moussaka with a bechamel sauce. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.